Welcome to episode 2 of Emulating Jack Young. As you can see, I've holidayed through to the end of the first season. It's now the 14th of June 2017. We're all still 17 years old because we turn 18 on the 1st of July. And we all now have a club, one way or another. Most of the players naturally found clubs without me having to do anything. But like I said in episode 1, in this series I don't want anyone to retire early. So there were a few players, a handful of players that didn't manage to find clubs. It was mainly players from Caribbean islands or random islands in the Pacific. A bit like my player, Golden FM, I'm from the Cayman Islands. I had to use a randomizer to find a club for my player and a few others. So what I did was I used random.org and used a random number generator to decide a league that the players should go to. So I had the top 35 leagues in the world according to the Football Manager reputation. So a random league was generated and then I chose a random team within those leagues. I did actually record all of this, but it was just so boring and tedious I've decided not to upload it. But yeah, I used a randomizer to decide a few players. So we now all have clubs at the end of the first season, and today's video is just a short one, really, to get the ball rolling with this series. It's been 3 days since episode 1. I've been away on holiday for a couple days. Today's video will just be a quick overview, really. Look, as you can see, I've tried to stick as much information on the screen as possible. I'll just scroll down so you can keep an eye out for the player you're supporting or your particular player of the series. In the comment section below, let me know who you think will be the star player of the series, who will be a legend, a club legend, a country legend, who will get the best current ability, etc. Just let me know in the comment section below who you think that player will be. But I've tried to stick as much information on this screen so you can just look across quite simply and see how certain players are getting on. In future videos we will have a look at other things in more detail, who won the World Cup, who won Champions Leagues, who won league titles. But as this is just a first season update, I thought we'd just have a look at a few players in a little bit of detail, the ones that have stood out after the first season. You can see there's a real variety of clubs in there, as well as of course me randomising a handful of players. But without me having to do that, there's a lot of variation in the clubs that players have moved to. They've gone all over the world, mainly in Europe, as usually is the case. And there's a few players out on loan as well, but there's yeah, there really is a good variety, and much more variety than normal. I think over the series we'll see players moving to the likes of Barcelona, Man United. The traditional big teams will get all the good players at some point, but it's good to have this starting point where everyone's all mixed up at the moment. You can see there's a real variety in current ability. Everyone started on 120 current ability, remember. Everyone has exactly the same potential on the database, -10. Of course, every save will be different. It will select the game before, well, when you load up a save, it will effectively decide on a potential between 170 to 200 because of that -10 potential rating on the editor. And you can see here Sander Tielemans is the star man at the moment with 145 current ability. He's gone up 25 points in this first season. He's had a remarkable first season with Vitesse in Holland. 14 goals in 39 appearances and 10 assists. 7.66 average rating overall. Phenomenal stuff from the Dutch youngster. Hasn't been capped at full level yet, but he's in the youth team. He's also wanted by a couple of Premier League teams, but it's going to cost a lot of money if they want to get him. The only other player to have over 140 current abilities, El Bucco, our Mexican defensive midfielder. He's actually playing in Mexico. Didn't have the best average rating, couple goals, 4 assists, but he's a cracking player, and before too long he'll surely be snapped up by a European team. Although the only team interested in him at the moment is actually another team in Mexico. You can see reputation-wise, Sander Tielemans is top of that as well. Now, reputation is all about your global appeal, I suppose, how well known you are around the world. So Sander Tielemans is already up to 7,155. The maximum is 10,000, I think, or 9,999. So lots of players have got over 6,000 already, doing really, really well in that regards. We will have a look at these sort of things in more detail in future episodes, but today's just a short, snappy one to get the ball rolling, like I said. Caps wise, international wise, you can see Palmer Coup. He didn't actually have a club. I had to find a random one for him. It ended up being Derby County, as it happens, so he's not played at any club football yet. but he has been playing for Malaysia and he's got 13 caps, more than any other player. Lee Gamble, another player who couldn't find a club team until I came along and randomised it for him. He's going to be playing for Cruz Azul in Mexico, of all places. But he's been capped 10 times by Fiji. Goals wise, you can see if your defence is terrified, our Faroe Islands striker, who plays for Rosenborg, has actually managed to get 9 caps and 5 goals. He's also had a very good season so far for Rosenborg. 12 goals in 10 games. He looks like a cracking player. It's all about the youth appearances really at the moment for most of the players. You can see Joe Wagner for USA's picked up 19 caps already and 5 goals. But look at this. Banana for Cameroon has got 28 goals in 16 games at under 21 level, and Mahusiv for Cameroon 18 goals in 16 games. That's very impressive from them. Neville Longbottom Jr. also doing well for Greece, as has Jack Old, the opposite of Jack Young, of course. 9 goals in 7 games. He's also been capped at full international level as well. So it's going really well for some of our players on the international scene already. All-time appearances, our Icelandic goalkeeper Robbie Rotten is the #1 goalkeeper for Cardiff City in the Championship. 53 appearances under his belt in that first year. It's mainly players that managed to find an English Football League club that has done particularly well this season in terms of picking up a lot of appearances. And goals wise, it's actually Daniel Gannon in League 2 for Portsmouth, got 24 goals. He's actually wanted by some very big teams in England, as you can see there. So just because he started in League 2, it may have actually been a sensible move in a way by starting in League 2. It hasn't hindered him because he's going to be bought by a really big team. In fact, it's almost helped him because he's played a lot of games, he's scored a lot of goals, and it looks like a Premier League team, a very big Premier League team, will put their faith in him next season. So we'll have to keep an eye on him next year to see who he moves to. Other players that managed to get 20 goals in their first season: Rousey, James Sleater, Scotland Serenity and Kevin Tejada, so well done to them. Assist wise in this first season, you can see Scott Thurston was out in the lead with 18 assists. Really impressive stuff from him. I'm not sure what's going on here with Scotland Serenity. I don't know why it's not showing, because he actually managed to pick up a lot of goals and assists for Hamilton in his first year in football, and a very good average rating as well. He's up there. If your defence is terrified though, best average rating, and that's so far this season for Rosenborg, of course. In Scandinavia, the seasons are slightly different to Western Europe. Clean sheets, there's only 3 goalkeepers that have played games so far. Zebu Nation is top with 9 clean sheets for Seattle Sounders. Then it's Robbie Rotten with 8, and Danish Bacon for Osasuna with 3. There's a real, like I said, there's a real variety of teams in here. It's brilliant to see. Value wise, it's actually Joshua Gawley, who's playing for QPR, but he's on loan from Stoke City, and he's worth £12 million. Rousey is next, £11.75 million. He's on loan from Sunderland to Reading. Before Sander Tielemans, £7.75 million. Wage wise, top earning players, here this is a little bit glitchy because Joshua Gawley is actually earning the most, but it's showing £1,200 because that's how much his loan club QPR are paying. He's actually earning £31,500 at Stoke City already, which is just sensational really. Then it's David Argon, £27,000 at West Brom, but he was on loan from Watford to West Brom, which is a very strange loan move in my opinion. Rousey is next, earning a lot of money at Sunderland. But there's quite a few players that are still on youth contracts because they've only just turned 17. The likes of Osama Onuna II on £10 a week playing for Ludogorets. That was actually another player that I had to randomly move. But over time, they'll work their way up and they'll start to earn big money, I'm sure. Well, that's it for today's video. I said it would just be a nice short and sweet one to just get things started really. I'll just scroll down once again so you can have a look, pause the video and have a look at your player and how well they've got on in their first year in football. Some players, like I said, have not played any games yet because they've only just moved to their teams this summer, or I've had to move them. Well, they may not have been played by the team that signed them last season. But in the next episode, I'll be holidaying probably 2 or 3 seasons, haven't decided yet, and we'll see how they're getting on in their still young years. They'll still only be 20 in 3 years' time, remember. If you can let me know which player you think will be the star player of the series. Put it in the comment section below. Also smash that like button, that'd be very much appreciated. Thank you for all the support on episode 1 and on the extra video as well. There won't be an extra video for every single video, I'm afraid, but I will do one definitely when the players reach the age of 30, so we can have a look back at everyone's career, see what they've won in a lot more detail, because some of these players may already have picked up league titles and cups as well, maybe even some international titles as well. They will win stuff during this series. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today's episode 2. I will see you in episode 3.